that's not the favor that I'm owed.
A lot happened on Friday Night Smackdown. We finally got the triple threat contract signing of Roman and Seth and Punk is getting his WrestleMania main event, but that's not the favor. The show kicked off with Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes coming out. This I did not care for, to be honest. I don't know about you guys. For me, I didn't care for just Cody coming out and Randy just talking up Cody for like 10 minutes about how great he is. And then we finally got Drew McIntyre coming in and talking some trash. Drew is great. I'm a little upset, not upset. I'm just kind of like whatever about his feud with Damian Priest for WrestleMania. I really wish it was going to be Drew in a bigger match, more high profile. He's so good. The crowd loves him. Obviously they're overseas, but it was still great to see Randy and Drew going in one-on-one in a match. But I didn't feel like this opening segment did anything. I mean, if it were me and it's like, hey, you can armchair quarterback this thing, but I would have preferred if we had a John Cena, Cody Rhodes cinematic sit down thing, something big and grand, just more talky segments. And this time it's just Randy Orton just talking him up. Now, the one thing that was good in here was that you had Randy saying to Cody that he's coming after that belt. So I like that they're at least trying to position something post-Mania. And then you obviously have Drew coming in and talking about how he's going to basically do the same thing. I believe that since we have seen a little bit of John Cena's schedule, like post-WrestleMania, that he is around, it leads me to believe that Cena could win that belt. And then you could have like Cena versus Orton, for example, at Backlash and do that. And you have Drew lined up and you have a lot of other people lined up. Tag team title match, Street Profits versus Pretty Deadly. Thought this was awesome. I was glued watching this thing. Street Profits retained, but this was an excellent match. I think that we are very much moving towards a multi-person match, tag team title match at WrestleMania. They're trying to do so much with the tag titles on Smackdown, and then I just look at Raw and I'm like, what is that? What are we doing? What are we doing at all? Are the War Raiders tag champions? I think so. There's nothing going on over there. There's nothing compelling. At least here they've built this for months and months of trying to get all the teams elevated, and I understand it takes time. Like, you had Motor City Machine Guns debut this year. You had a lot of interesting factors. You had the Street Profits finally get the tag titles once again. There's so many good components in here. I feel like now they're just starting to click with the tag division, and it's good. Like, this reminded me of an NXT tag match where I just felt like the crowd was super hyped and super into it, and everyone was trying really hard to make this a banger. So they need to continue that trend. I totally expect them to do like a fatal 5-way tag at WrestleMania, and then watch like the Raw tag titles not even make it on the show. Okay, we got Kaden Carter, Katana Chance, and the Secret Hervis. I had to re-listen to this twice because I was like, is that what they said? They said yes. So that's the faction name with Chelsea and Alba Fire and Piper Niven is the Secret Hervis. I love it. I think it's just fun. I think it's just ironic that Chelsea is Canadian and she's the US champion and they're doing the Secret Service stuff. It's a fun little gimmick. Piper Niven picks up the victory and the Secret Hervis stands tall. Worried that they don't get a match at WrestleMania because now they're into women's tag team stuff. I don't know who they're going to position Chelsea to go up against. It feels like once again they would get to Chelsea the Smackdown before WrestleMania and she gets a high profile title match there. I hope that's not the case. I want to see her on the show with her faction or do a 6-woman tag. You got enough time at WrestleMania. Now we had the match between LA Knight, versus Braun Strowman. These two guys going at it, kind of just friend versus friend, and then it basically just broke down with Jacob Fatu gets a big pop. Now what's interesting with Fatu coming in there, taking out Braun Strowman, wanting to get in his revenge, I like all of that. I'm starting to wonder if this is going to lead to Fatu in a another multi-person match, but probably a multi-person match for the US title, or Fatu versus LA Knight one-on-one at WrestleMania, which would be kind of cool, something we haven't seen before. And the element of Solo in there and Tama Tonga, because we saw them backstage afterwards, and they're heating it up a little bit more, it seems like, where they're gonna have Fatu and Solo kind of at odds with each other. I start to wonder if we're gonna get a straight up US title match at Mania, and then you end up with like some interference from Solo, which is really what you want, and then you want to get those guys probably starting that feud and the breakdown of the family and the bloodline even more, and get that to like SummerSlam. Because while WrestleMania culminates so many feuds, it's also a good opportunity to start stuff, to kickstart things. So, and I think you need those little surprises in there. Also, Jacob Fatu, I love LA Knight, but Fatu with the US title and make him kind of undefeated for a big nasty heel, and he becomes undefeated for like 6 months. be kind of fun. Now here's a big thing that I wanted to, well, there's two things that I want to talk about for in terms of promos or like just the backstage things that we saw. Naomi's backstage segment promo that she did, I thought this was excellent. She was crying, she was talking about her motivation with Bianca. Jade, she's done being underappreciated in all of this. She's really standing out and breaking out as a heel. This is exactly what I think they needed. I mean, they came off of the big segment between Bianca and Naomi that I really liked, where that relationship broke down. Then you had Naomi interfering, Jade got a loss, which was big. And then you had, that was last week's show. And then now you had Naomi doing this whole cinematic backstage promo thing. It was really well done. Like, Naomi just nailed it. And I think it really just brought her character out more. Now we understand all of it behind it. So she's cracking this heel persona, this heel version of herself really, really well. So I'm excited for Jade versus Naomi at Mania. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And then I'm just interested to see what they do with Naomi after that, because if she's going to keep going with this heel thing and she can even spin it where she's blaming Bianca more than Jade, then once she's done with Jade, she could pivot over and start feuding with Bianca. Maybe the title's involved. I was surprised. We got Charlotte Flair in a singles match against Michin. I don't know about you. Hang on, let me just get some coffee here. Very early as I record this. Is the Charlotte-Tiffany feud kind of like Gunther and Jay, just in terms of they're having matches against other people lower on the card? Like Jay with hooking up with American Alpha and stuff and going up against A-Town Down Under. You have Charlotte in there, who's the #1 contender, and she's got a singles match against Michin. Sure, there's nothing against the match is totally fine. And then it just leads to the ending and the finish where you got Charlotte going over, and then you just have Tiffany backstage. Tiffany's whole thesis is just like, well, I'm either going to win and be a rookie champion defending my title against the legend of Charlotte, or Charlotte's going to beat me and she loses to a kid or little, like that. That's kind of, it's like, what? We're just going to get these singles matches until Mania? This story is so cold for me. I watched Charlotte versus Michin, and again, I got nothing wrong with I love Michin. I wish she was in a more prominent position. But like, what is this all really about? Charlotte does not even really explain her motivation for picking Tiffany and not picking Rhea at the time for that title. I don't know, I'm not in the back room. I don't know what to do with this. What would you guys do to change the Tiffany Charlotte match to make you care? Because for as a fan, for me, I'm like, this is one of the most tepid things for the entire WrestleMania build. Now, a really cool match that they did on Smackdown was Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. Love it. These two guys are just pure main eventers. This could have made event of the show if it wasn't for the contract signing. But at the very end, you have a Claymore from Drew to Randy Orton. Kevin Owens gets involved, go over to the table, and Kevin Owens basically skirts away instead of getting punted in the head. But Drew McIntyre gets what is considered a clean victory over Randy Orton. I love it. It gives Drew a little bit more pep in his step as he's dealing with Damian Priest, which we saw later, where Damian Priest, Drew opens the door backstage, and you have Damian Priest there, and they're actually getting a big brawl, and Drew goes through the car, which I like that that's the position they're doing. Drew talked down Damian Priest as like a Temu Undertaker, which was hilarious, but kind of like other feuds right now going to Mania. I feel like this needs more. This is one of those things where I'm like, good, you did this heats it up even more. I like that it is just a grudge match. I'm getting into it a little bit more with Priest. I feel like it's missing a Priest Drew promo just head to head instead of them talking to other people and then coming over. But you know what? If they up the aggression every week going into Mania, where they're just screwing over each other and it ends in these big brawls, it will feel like, to me, kind of like Bronson Reed, Seth Rollins, where they're just jumping each other and fans are just into it because it's just heating up. That's what this feud, to me, needs to do, because it will keep people's interest. There's a ton of back history and all of that, but I do think that this will be one of those matches at Mania where a lot of us will say that was maybe one of the matches of the night, because they just put out a banger. I mentioned that for backstage segments that the Naomi segment was one of the highlights. The other one, and I missed it, and then I found it online, but they confirmed Rey Fenix is confirmed for Smackdown next week. Hey, it's Rey. That's amazing. I think it's gonna be awesome to have Rey Fenix. I think it's smart that they're not gonna get him and Penta side by side or tagging up just yet. Keep those guys separate on separate brands. Let them build themselves up even more. And Penta is firmly in this IC title thing, which is great. Phoenix, let's just see what he can do and who he will mix it up with. He needs that big shiny debut, but I find it odd, I will say, you're gonna have Rey Fenix have a debut, and I get it because they probably also have Aleister Black waiting, and you don't want to just overload WrestleMania with big debut things and such, so you got to slot him in properly. However, next week, Rey Fenix, just a random SmackDown, like let's give him the SmackDown go home for WrestleMania. Let's give him the, you know, SmackDown after WrestleMania. I don't know. Maybe they are just trying to set something up very quickly to get him on the WrestleMania card. You never know. Glad he's there. I just feel like the timing is going to be off for him. But hey, I'm excited for that. And I'm kind of excited and intrigued when and if it's Aleister Black and he makes a return, because that'll be cool too. Now, Jimmy defeated The Miz. This is before the contract signing. And this really just felt like more of an opportunity for Jimmy to get a win so that he can go and fight Gunther on Raw, which is going to be the big segment, which I hope that they really do something big and nasty with Gunther, Jimmy and Jay all mixed in together, and you have Jimmy getting like bloodied or taken out, Jay gets handcuffed or something big where it all kind of breaks down. And our main event. So the main event segment just being the contract signing, Roman, Seth, Punk, and Paul Heyman in there too. This triple threat I have struggled with for intrigue. I've been like on a bit of a high with it where I'm like, hey, this is gonna be killer. I've come down with it from like the SmackDown beatdown where everyone's just pointing at the WrestleMania sign like, it's my turn, no, it's my turn, it's my turn. Then I don't know, then every week building to this stuff, it's been promo about how I'll do a promo or a real segment on the next week's show and building to that and kind of stretching this thing out. So I felt like for being one of the biggest matches and evidently the main event of WrestleMania, which it's night one Mania, right? Cena Cody's night two. But for night one WrestleMania main event, it hasn't gotten off the ground the way I wanted it to, and be based on the star power alone that you have in this match. Feels like it's gonna get there, but now we have something very intriguing in the mix, ladies and gentlemen. So the whole contract signing, it was a lot of just talking, like just a lot of nothing until Punk came out to actually sign the contract. You get Seth Rollins getting really angry at CM Punk for all of this, for getting this main event, and that was the thing in the contract that was added in, and it was a very touching moment. Like, it really was. You could feel that it was Paul Heyman literally leaning into Punk and telling him, you are going to be a main eventer at WrestleMania. I just think it was a cool thing they did, and I think Punk's reaction was genuine, and same with Paul Heyman. It creates also a layer in the story of like Paul going over to Punk instead of staying with Roman. But they signed the contracts, and CM Punk is getting the main event of WrestleMania against Roman and against Seth. Seth is fuming. He doesn't want Punk, doesn't think he deserves it. He's been doing everything, which is cool for Seth's character and story, that he's been trying to keep Punk away from the Mania main event, but he's doing that. And Roman is just chill Roman, which is actually kind of hilarious because he's just like, I don't give an F. Like, I'm just going to chill here. Like, sign the contract. You can thank me for getting your Mania main event. I don't know if chill Roman is the one that you want for this. He should probably bring the intensity because everyone's been screwing him. Like, he hates Seth now. But in this moment, he's just like, it's all good. Like, because of me, you get your Mania main event. So it feels like there's too much arrogance from Roman's character, which might be his undoing when it comes to Mania. But as they closed the show, and even the credits came up, and they came up early, and we still had like another minute of them talking, but they tried to finish this thing up, and Punk says how that's not the favor. And you could see Paul Heyman just like yelling off to the side. It's kind of just like, oh, come on. That I think was brilliant and what this story needed. It needed the intrigue level to bring me in, to get more hooked, to feel like, what is this favor? We've been talking about this favor since it came up at like Survivor Series. And I always thought that doing it the favor as like just getting the Mania main event, which is what Seth and Roman predicted that that's what it was, and he got it. I thought that was pretty lame because it's just like, okay, that's what you're cashing in for. You want to have just the match. Like, the Mania main event isn't for a title, and that's where I think it all leads to. So Matt has a little theory here, and comment below, guys, and thank you so much for watching to this point. I think that I'm gonna do a video just on this triple threat and breaking it down and the story behind it, because my little theory is that, we may not like it because it'd be another triple threat. My theory is that Punk's favor is getting a title match, and that could be WrestleMania. It could also be, if he wins the triple threat, he gets the title match at, say, SummerSlam guaranteed, and they want to push it that way. So they have a guaranteed story arc post WrestleMania with John Cena, Cody, whatever. But it's kind of, for me, it's one of two ways. Punk got that Mania main event, but the favor is going to be he gets a title shot. Now, I know what people are saying. They're like, how does Paul Heyman have the sway and the stroke? He's not in charge of that. Like he can't get him a title match. He's done stuff before, and they could write it in a way. I mean, the other thing that it could be is just the favor is Paul Heyman is told to help Punk win the triple threat, and that's that. But I don't see the point of that. Like, why cash in a favor during the match at Mania for Paul to be like, get a chair and help me? And that's the favor? Like, no, I don't know if that's really what's going to work, or that would really surprise people. I think the shocker for Mania would be Punk winning the triple threat night one, and like they did last year, where you're moving stories from night one to night two. Punk wins that match, and then he goes off and his music hits night two, and he's standing on the ramp with Paul Heyman. He signs the contract and he's inserted into it and making it a triple threat. And you could still have Cena win and go off with the title, but Punk then main evented 2 WrestleMania main events, and he's got Paul Heyman. So the intrigue of Seth, the intrigue of Roman, Cena, Cody, like you have all these people with Punk now in the mix. And is Punk a heel, tweener? Like, you can mine a lot more from that if that happened. Or maybe it's just a future title shot. You never know. But that's going to be the main event. What did you guys think of Smackdown? Did it work for you? Did it click better than it has over previous weeks? Comment below, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Oh, by the way, if you guys want, we got a brand new series called Confessions, where the community confesses to a lot of things about WWE. So if you want to check that out, click this video right here. Have a great day. See ya.